Update: my daughter has cut me out of her life and I fear it's for good. Original post. Update. Hey all. This is the son, 35M, who encouraged his father to post about his current situation in the last post. As someone guessed correctly, I made him post it so he could get a reality check, which he doesn't agree with. What he mentioned in the last post is only the tip of the iceberg. He's been a shitty dad his entire life. This is why my mother is separated from him and I have extremely low contact with him. My baby sister, 22F, is a straight-A student who got into the most competitive program in her department. She hasn't snorted any drug or had a single drink in her entire life and has no intention of doing so. She uses humor and sarcasm a lot in her daily life but is mature and serious when she needs to be. She's a very smart and healthy person despite facing the abuse our father made her endure. He doesn't approve of her because she's too liberal. She goes to protests for women's rights, actively speaks about freedom of choice among people and refuses to fall into the traditional, obedient woman role. Basically her and my father are polar opposites. Onto the update. We're Muslims and live in a third world country, so my sister had to return eventually. She was staying with her friend, as apartment situations aren't good or secure for females in our city. She and my dad had a talk this morning. I was there. He made a face as soon as she walked in and greeted him. She saw it but didn't say anything, which was heartbreaking to see because I could see her demeanor shift a little. She tried to lighten the mood a little by commenting on how heavy it was raining. My father seemed to take that as an opening and ranted about how it damaged the walls and how none of us know about it. She made a joke that, well, I hope I move to a drier area one day so I don't have to worry about that. And that was it. He lost it after that. He turned to me and said, "Can you believe the pathetic little thinking she has? Every time she speaks she shatters the ideal image I have of her in my mind." A few words were exchanged between the two till he finally faced her to tell her that she is a disappointment and all she ever wants is for someone to coddle her. She went to her room without another word. I already know that the day she's able to leave the country, she'll leave and never come back, and I will support her. For now, all I can do is reassure her that it's not her fault. Edit to add. I also showed her the first post. She was very happy with how our father was being dragged in the comments. She cussed him out with "y'all. How did you manage to make your dad use Reddit with the lil contact you two have? Not accusing you of anything, just genuinely curious of how you managed that and how did it go. Also, I just read both posts and I hope someone punches your dad in the face. Oh, wow, Op. I am so glad your sister has you. He reminds me of my own dad. Such parents either create broken people who use their upbringing as an excuse to be shit, nasty, mean PPL, or really strong people who actively works on growing and not being what they're raised to be, and empathic ones. You and your sister sounds to have fallen into the latter one. Good luck to you. Can your sister live with you? Get her out and away from your father. Or can her mother take her in? Then your father can be left to waste away on his miserable, misogynistic self. I may get downvoted for this, but Muslim dads are the goddamn worst. I'm Muslim myself and grew up with this verbal abuse and it's not nice at all. He did the same to my younger sisters and they both ended up leaving in the end, which I don't blame them for. He's gotten better in the last few years, but my god. I don't understand why these dads do not understand that being disrespectful as fuck. They are pushing their children away. I hope your sister managed to get as far away from him as soon as she can. You're the sibling I needed when growing up. It's fantastic to see how you're supporting your sister the way you can, and it is unfortunate to see how your dad still won't budge. Girls trip going horrendously. I just want to leave. So basically me and my two friends live in the States and traveled to PR. When we were making plans, my best friend said I can't bring my boyfriend cause it's a girls only trip. I am totally OKW that and we just went, the three of us. The day of the flight I only got 3 hours to sleep cause it was super early and I worked the night before. As soon as we land, my friends and I do a bunch activities and want to go clubbing till 3 a.m. I am tired but I go anyways. My best friend wakes me up the next day at 7 a.m. and I got my period. On top of sleep deprivation, I just got my period. I am feeling awful. I get through the day and we hit another club. They said we will only stay till 2 a.m. since we have to be up at 8 a.m. My friend also brings her ex-BF, who broke up her 4 years ago, to the club. It's a lot to get into, but they were extremely toxic and I've heard her cry about him for 4 years, hours and hours on end. That killed the mood for me, so I left the club and just waited for them at the hotel lobby. The club was in the hotel. I kept asking when we were leaving at 2 a.m. and they didn't leave till 4:30 a.m. I am DD, so I had to wait. At this point I was furious and my other friend said I'm overreacting. They tried to wake me up at 8 a.m. today and I said, no, I physically can't, I'm exhausted. They asked me what TF was wrong with me. So now I am getting up again with no sleep to go hiking and probably staying up till 4 a.m. again. I am very upset over my best friend bringing her toxic ex multiple times on a girls on trip as well as not sleeping properly for 3 days. I feel like I'm going to die lol. On top of this they only want to eat one meal a day, and my best friend is the only one that is allowed to make plans since she's from here and know every spot. We were supposed to go ziplining and they decided not to last minute so they can go to a concert after I leave. How can I approach this? I've already stood my ground and they say I'm being crazy. TL. Doctor, my 2 friends and I are on a trip and I feel my needs are being ignored and I've never wanted to leave a trip so fast. We're going clubbing tonight. I'm going to pass, I'm exhausted. Also, if you're out and having a bad time, go back to the house. Tell him to take a cab. You need your sleep first. A clear head is the primary step. You need to learn the art of being assertive. Just tell them no and have fun, but I'm done until I sleep. If you need to leave, they can get a cab or Uber. Just because you are friends with someone, it doesn't oblige you to do what they want you to do at all times. Eat some food, get a full 8 hours of sleep, and actually enjoy your vacation. That's pretty much the nightlife in PR. I couldn't keep up with it. They are being super extra. Downgrade to acquaintance ASAP. It's a girls' trip so you couldn't bring your boyfriend but homegirl got her ex there. That level of bullshit is crazy lol. I'd leave early and go home. And don't ever go on a trip with them again. Now you know their idea of a trip is so different to yours, you'd be mad to repeat the experience. My 60F son, 20M, called me the C word over a video game today. It's Friday morning, which means the garbage collectors come around. I asked my son to take out the trash since the truck was just a few houses away, but he told me he was in a video game with a friend who asked him to play and that he couldn't pause the game. Thing is, he's told me this for the last couple of weeks and is using the excuse of having a hard school year to kick back and do what he wants to the exclusion of everything else. Child, I bust my ass every single day cooking for my family and taking care of housework so he has no leg to stand on. After that I told him about how entitled and childish it is for a 20-year-old grown-ass man to tell his 60-year-old mom he can't take out the damn trash because he can't pause a video game. He tried to throw out excuses but I wasn't having it. A few minutes later he comes downstairs to start cleaning the kitchen, saying I put him in a pissy mood and now I've forced his hand to make up for it. I said, "Oh, now you can pause the game now that I called you out, huh?" He then asked me why I'm acting the way that I am, and I just repeated what I said earlier, that I just get so frustrated when I ask my kids to do basic shit around the house and get attacked for it, and he doesn't have to clean the kitchen if he doesn't want to. He said that my response was stupid and that I don't get to gaslight him for it. I said then don't ask the question and just accept that he's offended me and to do better. He then said that I'm the C word, and I just stopped then and there. I wanted to let him have it, I was furious. I told him that he better not call me that ever again or we're gonna have problems, that it was an act of abuse and violence that could result in a felony charge, and if he gets his ass busted for acting a fool out in public, don't come crying to me, but he didn't want to hear it and tried to disengage. I told him that I would be telling his dad about it and having him give my son an earful about it. How you do not disrespect your parents like that, he just said, okay. Respect is a two-way street though. Honestly, I'm worried for my son. He's steadily become more belligerent and aggressive as of recent and I want to nip it in the bud before it becomes a problem, but I'm at a loss for what to do. How does he think it's okay to call me what he did for rightfully airing my grievances over something stupid? Seems like it's time for him to move out. Okay, I agree that him saying that to you was abusive, but felony charge? Where do you live? The time to nip it in the bud was about 15 years ago. You've created this, allowed it. I dunno. To me, if he's not in school, he should be on his own. Remind him that he's old enough to move out and do all the adulting on his own where you won't be cooking his meals, doing his laundry, cleaning his bathroom, or paying his rent and utilities. Calling you a cunt isn't a felony charge. He would have had to actually abuse you, not insult you. It is mean though, so I understand why you lashed out like that. I hope this doesn't seem weird as a childless woman in her mid-20s giving advice, but I'm the oldest of 5, so I've done a lot of stuff with kids. Look, my younger brother is the same way and he is much meaner about it. Change the Wi-Fi password and don't share it until he gets his act together. Or, say he's got to live on his own if he doesn't pull his weight. Otherwise I'm not sure anything else will curb the attitude. I would have just told him that everyone who lives here has to participate in keeping the place clean, and if he doesn't want to participate he can vacate. It's that simple. My 20 female boyfriend, 20 male, wore green to a stop light party. I saw photos of my boyfriend attending a stop light party last weekend, which is basically where you wear colors based on your relationship status, red being in a relationship and green being single. My boyfriend wore green to this party. I asked him about it, and he said he only wore green because he didn't own any red shirts and wanted to fit the theme of the party. He said when people did approach him, he told them he was in a relationship. If I'm being honest, I'm not sure if I believe him. Any advice? This is a classic case of, if he wanted to, he would. He could have bought a cheap red shirt from Walmart for the party. He could have painted his shirt red. He could have found the shirt with the most red in it and worn that. He could have found red shorts and worn a black top. He could have asked a friend if he could borrow a shirt. He could have mentioned this to you beforehand. He could have not gone to the party. He actively decided to wear the green shirt. There's really no defending it. He had a choice, and he chose to look single. You don't know what happened at this party, and he didn't tell you before. Big red flag, location flag. I'm pretty sure the whole stoplight party theme is for singles to meet each other. He also could have just worn a non-themed shirt. It's completely sketchy. Sketchy. Trust your gut. That's a stupid story. Yeah, I wouldn't believe that for a second. He could have either gotten a cheap red shirt or just not worn green at all. He literally could have worn any other color with a red wristband, belt, shorts, stickers, shoes or even socks. Man didn't even try.